Donald Trump took time out of his very busy schedule today, this Friday, to speak in front of the tykes at Turning Point USA, the young folks, the Republicans that are up and coming, the new folks that are MAGA to be at some point in time. And what he did was fairly obvious. He gave greatest hits. He talked about all the things he did that were great. He talked about the wars that he actually ended, all 8 of them that he says they ended. He talked about a bit about the one going on right now in Iran and how the ceasefire is great and everything is well. And he, get a couple little jabs in here or there. But it's a throwaway line that was tossed in here that I want to focus on for the next couple of minutes, because this line right here will give us something to talk about all weekend long. Because most likely we won't be talking about the fact that the war that he started that should be ending won't be ended over the weekend. The ceasefire probably won't be ratified because he gave a bunch of listing of things that he said that Iran agreed to, and Iran basically 10 minutes afterwards said, no, we don't agree to any of those things. So assuming those things don't happen, let's hope that this thing he said he did say does come to fruition. Now, what is this thing out there? And it's really out there, if you will. Donald Trump stated that he instructed, if you will, the U.S. Department of Defense, which is actually called, to release documents related to unidentified flying objects. Those are the UFOs. But of course, now that we are in the year 2021, we are talking now, or 21st century, I should say, we are now talking about them as UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena. And I actually got anomalous spoken right that time, so I guess your 5th time's a charm for your cuts. Meanwhile, these comments that were just kind of a throwaway in his speech where he's going on script, off script, on script, off script, these comments align with a broader ongoing push in Washington, D.C., which is actually to increase transparency around government-held information on the unexplained aerial sightings. They don't want to talk about anything else, but this one is one they all agree on. Trump suggested that there's more disclosure to happen, more things to show, imply that the public has long been kept in the dark about certain findings and should probably get a little more information fairly soon. The statement has reignited some public and media interest into what the federal government actually knows about the UFO encounters and the investigations. Trump's remarks come at a time when bipartisan interest in UFO disclosure has been increasing in Congress. They don't want to share and do the same thing or the right or maybe wrong things together on anything out there. They still have a government shutdown. We're fighting over this war thing, Epstein files, but they do want more stuff done about UFOs, period. Lawmakers have held multiple hearings and passed provisions requiring intelligence agencies to release more on the UAPs, and also agencies such as the Office of Director of National Intelligence. They've worked hard to issue some preliminary assessments, most of them saying that, yes, they're unexplained, which you already know. But these developments have created a political environment where calls for openness and more common, less stigmatized works for these things than have been in prior decades. Trump's comments appear to build on the momentum, even though many believe the efforts may not quite be as on the up and up, that there actually aren't very much going on, but going forward, there might be. We'll have to see. Meanwhile, the Pentagon has declassified several videos in recent years for encounters between military pilots and unidentified aerial objects, with these releases being confirmed as being real. Additionally, NASA and other defense agencies have conducted independent reviews of what's out there or what they see out there. And what they see is something that is either a natural phenomenon, something that you can actually explain when you think about it. And if you can't explain it, they're thinking foreign technology, not space technology, not outer space technology, but maybe something the Russians or the Chinese have been working on that we get a glimpse of out of nowhere. Now, Trump's claim suggests that there may be additional undisclosed materials out there, although officials aren't really up to confirming this quite yet in this melee. Experts and analysis do caution that the statement about undisclosed UFO documents should be approached with caution. Why? There's often a gap between political rhetoric and verified public action, i.e. Trump can say, hey, let's do something, and then the doing doesn't quite come up to match. Think about those Epstein files when Pam Bondi gave binders to people inside the White House, and they walked out flashing them around, only to find they were all extremely old and extremely already known information about Epstein, which we're not talking about. Meanwhile, critics note that Trump did not provide any details. He just blurted out in this speech about when this will come out and how it will be delivered. I told Pete to give me more stuff about UFOs. You'll get it soon. Government transparency advocates argue that while disclosure is important, claims must be supported by documentation, because without documentation, is it real? Skepticism reflects a broader pattern in UFO-related discussions where speculation can outpace the controlled information and what is actually you can actually confirm is true or not true. Public fascination with UFOs remains strong, fueled by decades of speculation, plenty of media coverage, and the occasional government disclosure that slips a little bit out to us. Trump's comments tap into that enduring curiosity and may contribute to renewed public pressure for transparency. The topic has shifted from fringe interest to mainstream policy discussion. Scientists, defense officials, and lawmakers are all involved in the talk and want to be involved in the discussions on what to do with these things once we have them, in our hands. Regardless of the accuracy of the impact of Trump's claim that there's more and there it's coming out soon, the issue of UFO disclosure continues to evolve as something as more of a legitimate area of national security and scientific inquiry than just crazy talk. Now, remember, a potential benefit of Trump's statement is that we'll get some more information and there'll be more transparency from the government on UFOs. On nothing else, just the UFOs. And it may actually have further discussions on what to do if these records do exist. It also reflects a broader shift towards treating the UAPs as a serious subject rather than dismissing them in the outright. But remember, these claims have drawbacks, as in Trump tends to say things that aren't quite true. And the clear evidence of this, or documentation that there is more stuff that we should see and that we've been kept in the dark on purpose for a long time, is yet to be proven. It risks showing that the government is a spreader of misinformation and inflates expectations to what it actually knows. Who would have thunk that? You'd have thunk that. I'd have thunk that. We all kind of think that. But do we think there's more UFO stuff coming out there? Or do we think we need a distraction this weekend because of war and Epstein? Your comments, very much warranted.